and welcome to a very special episode of your favorite segment over here on my channel, Out of the Vault. If you are new here, let me just say welcome. It's a pleasure to have you, and for all of you returning, I just want to take a little bit of time to reflect before we go into the review of today's film. Back in 2013, I decided that on my channel I was going to dedicate an entire segment to Disney and only Disney. At the time, it was just going to be allowing me to fulfill a mission that I had been wanting to do for many, many years as a film fan and Disney fanatic. I wanted to finally take the time to watch all of the Disney canon animated classics. At the time, there was about to become a total of 53. And the newest movie that year was going to be Frozen. Yes, the original Frozen. And as the show continued and it started to grow, the fan base really appreciated what was happening here, and because of the fact that it looked like I was about to be running out of classics, I decided to extend the life of the show by adding Disney Pixar reviews, as well as Studio Ghibli reviews, and once again, I'm going to keep saying this every time I bring up that studio, even though they are not owned by Disney anymore, they are now distributed by G-Kids Entertainment. It's because of John Lasseter that Hayao Miyazaki and Hisao Takahata's films that never made it across the pond were finally mass-produced and mass-marketed for the Western world. And through this time frame, I have already fulfilled my goal of seeing all of the Disney canon classics up until today, but we are going to be reviewing the 59th Disney canon classic, which of course is the supposed to be 2020 release, but the 2021 release, Raya and the Last Dragon, but also, we are celebrating the 100th episode of Out of the Vault over here on my channel. And it was only appropriate that we review the brand new Disney canon classic. So, to every one of you who have been here since the very first episode, which of course was a tag about Disney, before I officially started doing the Disney film reviews, I just want to say thank you to every single one of you who have given me the positive feedback, the encouragement to continue, and for all of you new people that have just been showing up throughout the years, through every new movie that I was reviewing here on this segment. Thank you so much for sticking around, and I'm really hoping to see you in the 200th episode if we actually ever get that far. So, like I said, we are reviewing a very interesting Disney canon classic, Raya and the Last Dragon. Before it even hit theaters and Disney Plus Premier Access, there was definitely a story to tell. This was a film that I really didn't know too much about. The fact that it was going to be something new and different that we don't really see that often in Disney canon classics. This was definitely based on the original trailer that I saw was going to be something that looked different, exciting, and definitely something that has a little bit more of a mature feel, not necessarily something for young kids. And then the pandemic hit, it had to get pushed back, and they didn't wrap up everything on this film in person in Disney Animation Studios. They actually finished making this film from their own homes through the ways that we were all communicating at the time. So the movie came out in March 2021. It was one of the first few movies to return back to theaters, but unfortunately, I did not have the ability to go see it because movie theaters were still closed and I didn't have Disney Plus access. But here we are. It's now officially on physical media, so you can get it on Blu-ray and DVD. And I have to say that I thought that Raya and the Last Dragon was a fantastic Disney canon classic. It has actually become one of my favorite Disney classics at this point. But why is that? Well, there's a great many reasons. First of all, I love the story. The story, it just breaks the mold of the typical Disney princess formula, because not only do we have two princesses again, because the first time we had two Disney princesses was actually in Frozen, but this time we have two rival Disney princesses, two enemy Disney princesses, which makes it all the more interesting. The story is about a kingdom that was once unified by the powers of dragon magic. The powers of ancient dragon magic were what contributed to nature and gave these people the paradise and the harmony that they deserved. But then there was something that happened that caused a rift and divided up 5 separate kingdoms, and through unknowing and doubt and distrust and hatred, there was just something that fueled the coming of these dark spirits that not only destroyed the dragon magic, but just caused these kingdoms to live in constant fear and doubt, and just see this beautiful world start to die. And there was only one thing that kept hope alive for these 5 kingdoms, and it was called the Dragon Stone, which is supposed to have the powers of the dragons, but also give them the ability to possibly find the very last dragon that survived, whose name was Sisu. And when young Raya is witnessing a possible unification of these 5 kingdoms thanks to her father, who believes in hope, there is a controversial event that takes place. Things just go from bad to worse. So that is where Raya begins, and through that we get tons of action, tons of amazing characters, and tons of very powerful messages that you can definitely relate to in today's world. Besides the beautiful animation, there is a powerful score from James Newton Howard. This is one of James Newton Howard's most unique scores, and I love his scores for Disney films. Kelly Marie Tran. And I just want to say this, because I've said this ever since I reviewed The Last Jedi. I felt so horrible for her because she was just given a role that was just not written for her. She did everything that she could to try and turn Rose Tico into a likable character, but that was not her fault. This was terrible writing, terrible directing, and she unfortunately took the brunt of the feedback that was negative toward that film. But fast forward to the 2 voice acting projects that she has done since, which is The Croods: A New Age and this film. I loved Kelly Marie Tran as Raya. She gave so much emotion to this character. I loved this character. I related to this character, and if she never does another live-action role again and just sticks to voice acting, I think that she will kill it every single time. But I'm just hoping that directors will see her talent and actually put her in the right projects where she can truly show off her acting abilities, because based on what I have seen through Raya, it is there. Every single moment in this movie is just something that is captivating, something that is beautiful. The color palettes, the South Asian influences that build these worlds are just captivating, and you just cannot stop looking at this beauty of these vast landscapes and cityscapes. They're gorgeous to watch. But of course, what is it about this movie that I love the most? Well, it's the voice of Sisu, the dragon, Awkwafina. I love Awkwafina so much. Ever since I saw her in Crazy Rich Asians, I have been a fan of hers ever since, and I've loved her in every single role that I have seen her in post that film. And as Sisu, she just turns on this charm that makes Awkwafina the unique personality that she is, and every moment that that dragon is on screen, you just smile, you laugh, you can't get enough of this character, and I don't know how big her role is going to be in Shang-Chi, The Legend of the Ten Rings this September, but let me just say the fact that she is in this movie makes me more excited to actually go to the theaters and see this movie. But then again, I'm going to see every Marvel movie, just like I try and see every Disney canon classic. I wish I could have seen Raya and the Last Dragon on the big screen, because this is such a beautiful film to watch. It's a true spectacle, and one of the few things that I will definitely say is, in the last couple of years, I think the last 10 years as a matter of fact, we have seen these beautiful worlds come to life through this CGI animation of Disney Animation Studios. Frozen is gorgeous, Big Hero 6 is gorgeous, Zootopia, Moana, all of these Disney canon classics that have been coming out even since Tangled, with the CGI truly hit its peak for Disney Animation Studios. It's just been one beautiful, captivating experience after another, and Raya is no exception. But I do want to address the elephant in the room, because there have been some crazy negative things happening towards this film. And it's not the film in particular. I want to make that absolutely clear. It's this division amongst people who have seen this movie. Some people have gotten so much crap because they said that this movie was a ripoff of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now, I will not deny the fact that there are some Avatar: The Last Airbender elements found throughout this film, but that doesn't make this movie a ripoff. There is a true original story in this film. These characters are very original. But then again, when it comes to any story that really involves the typical hero's journey, which unfortunately this movie does have, it's not like it's easy to make those films truly stand out. You just gotta work on the development of the characters to try and make the hero's journey, which is a very recycled plot, work every single time and make it feel new. And when I watched Raya and the Last Dragon, the hero's journey felt new and looked new, and I was excited to watch this story. I didn't even find this film predictable. There were some points in time that were predictable, but most of the time that was comedic work, and comedic work does have great timing. The comedy in this film works beautifully, but comedy is also very predictable. But as long as you know that the comedy is coming and you know that you're going to enjoy what you're going to get, and as long as it gets a laugh out of you, that's all that matters. But the other issue is when someone called this movie an Avatar ripoff, they basically say, oh, because of the fact that it has an all-Asian cast, you feel that all Asian casted films are exactly the same. No, that's not the truth. It's just the fact that the hero's journey, whether it's an Asian representation, a black representation, a white representation, a Jewish representation, the hero's journey is something that's way too familiar, but that's also what happens when you have almost 100 years of Disney films, and the fact that people try their very best to turn the hero's journey into something new and fresh every single time, you've got to give them nothing but the best of credit and understanding. But again, this is a fun movie. I want to watch this movie so many times again. I mean, this was a blind buy for me. I didn't see this movie before I purchased it on Blu-ray, but I knew that I was going to love it based on everything that I saw. The action, the comedy, the drama, the message, the music, the animation, everything that makes a Disney movie so enjoyable is in this movie. I promise you. And the fact that I own it now makes me so happy that I went with my gut and said, I know I'm gonna love this movie. I will say, as someone who's not a Mulan fan, and again, I'm not saying that Mulan and Raya and the Last Dragon are exactly the same film, but yes, Mulan, as a fact, was the first film that Disney gave us an animation that had an Asian representation cast, not entirely their voice cast, but a large portion, and I just did not enjoy Mulan. I didn't. I didn't even want to see the live-action film, but I love Raya and the Last Dragon. It is a fantastic adventure, and it's just unlike anything that you get from a Disney film. Any fan of just great, feel-good, action-packed movies are going to love Raya and the Last Dragon, and of course, Disney fans like myself, if this does not end up in your top 10 after you watch this movie, I don't know what else to tell you, but this movie is definitely in my top 10 at this point in time. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. Please leave your comments in the box below, and let's discuss Raya and the Last Dragon, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next one, where I will hopefully be reviewing the newest edition from Disney Pixar, Luca. But in the meantime, I will see you in the next one. If you enjoyed the video you just watched, feel free to leave a comment. Also, feel free to subscribe if you want to be up to date with our latest videos. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you in the next one. Actions speak louder than words.